Hello everybody. Our sing thing of the week this week is all about how to practice. I've been talking to several of my students about this, and we've come to the conclusion that a lot of us simply start at the beginning of a song, sing it, being very good at the bits we're good at and not really enjoying the bits we're not very good at, sort of skip over them and miss them out or only sing them once and then carry on because that's a bad bit onto the bits that we really enjoy. Now, if we're just singing for fun, that of course is absolutely fine. But if we want to get better at the things we're less good at, what we really ought to be doing is practicing the things we can't do rather than the things we can. But what we don't want to do is reinforce singing things not very well. So I am going to use Folk Song of the Week as an example of how to practice this week. My husband very kindly recorded Folk Song of the Week for us. I didn't do it this week. I felt it was more appropriate for his voice. So if I want to sing Folk Song of the Week, I might need to practice it. Now, it's quite a long song and it's got some bits that repeat over and over again. So we're not going to practice the whole thing because obviously once we've got that bit right, we might want to sing it at a different dynamic, or we might want to bend the rhythms a bit or do something fun to make a strophic piece more interesting. But in terms of the actual good technical singing, we don't need to practice all of it, but it would be a good idea to practice each bit of the melody. So the first thing I would do is I would pick out the tune on the piano. That's probably enough for me to remember. I'm going to do that again. If you don't play the piano or if you don't have an instrument, you can use the recording to do this. Just play that little bit. You can listen to Andrew singing it and then copy. He's 40 shillings on the drum. That worked absolutely fine. I'm going to do it one more time to make sure I've got it right. He's 40 shillings on the drum. The next phrase. Okay, that goes quite high. So I might want to think about how I'm going to approach those top notes. I know that I want to keep a certain amount of depth in my larynx as I go up to C and D. So I'm going to practice keeping a yawning sensation as I do it. To those who volunteer to come. That worked okay. Other things you might need to practice in that phrase that goes high are modifying your vowels as you go higher, because we don't want to be singing it goes a bit too bright. So the yawn will help, but also a feeling possibly of crying a little bit will help with that phrase, and making sure we're really supporting it properly. Let's give that phrase another go. To those who volunteer to come. Now let's pick out the next phrase. To list and fight the foe today. I wasn't quite convinced I was completely in tune on the C at the end. I wonder why that was. I think that I got a little bit bogged down on my bottom note, and possibly I need to think of a bit of giggle to release it before I sing the top note at the end. I'm going to give that one more go. To list and fight the foe today. Was happier with that. But because it's been a bit of a problem, I'm going to practice that one more time, just to make sure I've really got the idea of what I need to be doing internally. To list and fight the foe today. Over the hills and far away. I've got two things I want to practice in that phrase. Hills is not a very good sound to sing on. The I tends to get a little bit pinched. I'm going to open that to more of an E sound to make it more Italian sounding, because that's a better sound to sing on. It's more resonant. Over the hills, over the hills. Now, far away ends on a diphthong. I want to make sure that I don't bring the Y in too soon, because otherwise it distorts the word and people might not understand it. Over the hills and far away. I'm happier with that time. come down those scales. I want to think of brightening my bottom notes to make them match up with my top notes. O'er the hills and o'er the main, through Flanders, Portugal and Spain, King George... Oh, I wasn't very good at king. That's because I did ng on the second of those two slurred notes. King! And it will sound much better if I sing king. King George commands and we obey, over the hills and far away. Okay, I'm happy with verse 1 of my song now. I would practice all of the verses in exactly the same way. When I hear something that I don't like, I go back and I try and work out what went wrong and I try and put it right. If I'm happier, I then reinforce it by practicing it 2 or 3 times. It might seem very obvious, but lots of us have never been taught how to practice. Have a go at Folk Song of the Week. Pick out the bits that you find difficult, sing them 2 or 3 times. Try some different things. When you've got something you're really happy with, reinforce it by singing it 2 or 3 times. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes.